My ex-girlfriend announced her engagement at our class reunion thinking I would make a scene. Instead, I gave them a $1,000 gift. Now she is having a breakdown because she just found out I am married with a kid. I and my ex Olivia dated for 4 years and broke up 6 years ago. I moved to Paris for work right after and just got back to the States last month with my wife Emma and daughter Lily 4F. Last weekend was our 10-year college reunion in Boston. I almost did not go, but Emma said it would be good for Lily to see where I went to school and meet some of my old friends. I figured enough time had passed that seeing Olivia would not be a big deal. The reunion was at this restaurant downtown, and when we walked into the private room, Olivia was already there with this guy Ethan, who I recognized from college. They were standing in the center of the room, and the moment she saw me, her whole face changed. She looked shocked, then almost smug. Before I could even say hello to anyone, Olivia suddenly grabbed Ethan's hand and announced loudly to the entire room, "Everyone, Ethan and I are engaged." Everyone started cheering and congratulating them. A few people glanced at me to see my reaction because apparently everyone remembered how obsessed I used to be with Olivia. Here is the thing. Back when we were together, Olivia and Ethan were best friends. He was always around and she would constantly cancel our plans or leave in the middle of dates because Ethan needed something. I was insanely jealous and possessive about it, which I am not proud of now. But at the time I loved her so much I just accepted it. The worst incident happened on our actual wedding day 6 years ago. We were supposed to get married at this venue outside the city. I was already at the hotel getting ready when Olivia called me saying Ethan was having a panic attack and was afraid of the dark and could not go downstairs to get his medication. She said she had to go help him and would meet me at the venue. I waited and waited. 2 hours passed. I called her probably 50 times. Finally, I drove to Ethan's apartment, which was an hour away in the opposite direction from the venue. When I got there, Olivia was inside taking care of him. She had completely forgotten about the wedding. Our guests were already at the venue. The photographer, the caterers, everyone. I had to call my best man and tell him to cancel everything. I drove to the venue in my suit and apologized to everyone. It was the most humiliating experience of my life. After that, I got really sick from the stress and cold because it was January and snowing. Olivia never came to see me when I was sick. She stayed with Ethan because he was traumatized from the panic attack. That was when I realized I could not do this anymore. I accepted a job transfer to Paris and left without telling her. I blocked her number and email and just disappeared. I figured she would understand we were done. So at this reunion, when she announced the engagement, I genuinely felt nothing but happiness that she had moved on. I opened my phone and sent them $1,000 on Venmo with a note saying, "Congratulations on your engagement." The room went quiet. People were staring at their phones as the notification went through. Olivia looked at her phone and her face went completely white. She excused herself from Ethan and grabbed my arm, pulling me outside into the hallway. She said, "Jack, it has been 6 years. Is that not long enough for you to get over this? Ethan and I are just putting on a show for his family. They have been pressuring him to settle down. After this fake engagement is done, you will marry me like we planned." I stared at her, not sure if she was serious. I said, "Olivia, we broke up 6 years ago. We are not together." She laughed like I said something ridiculous. She said, "We have just been in a fight, a really long fight, but we never actually broke up. You just needed space." I could not believe what I was hearing. I said, "Olivia, I blocked you on everything. I moved to another country. I sent you an email saying we were done. How is that not breaking up?" She waved her hand dismissively. She said, "You were upset about the Ethan thing. I get it. But you always forgive me, you always come back. That is what we do." I felt this weird mix of anger and pity. I pulled my hand away and said, "I am not coming back this time. I am married now. I have a daughter." Her face changed completely. She grabbed my left hand and saw my wedding ring. She started shaking. She said, "What? When? To who?" I said, "Her name is Emma. We met in Paris 5 years ago. We got married 4 years ago. Our daughter just turned 4. Olivia started crying right there in the hallway. She said, "How could you do this to me? How could you marry someone else? I have been waiting for you. I turned down other guys because I thought we would get back together," I said as gently as I could. "Olivia, you were just announcing your engagement to Ethan in there. How are you waiting for me?" She said, "That is different. That is fake. You and I are real. We have history. 18 years of history if you count high school. I was exhausted. I said, I have to get back to my wife and daughter. They are waiting at the hotel. I am sorry, Olivia, but we are done. We have been done for 6 years. I hope you and Ethan are happy together. I walked away, and she did not follow me. When I got back to the private room, everyone was staring at me. Ethan looked confused. Emma, who had been talking to some of my old friends, came over and asked if everything was okay. I said I would explain later. We left pretty quickly after that. But now my phone is blowing up with messages from old classmates saying Olivia has been texting everyone asking about my wife and when we got married and where we live. A few people are saying she is having some kind of breakdown. My friend Mike, who still lives in Boston, texted me this morning saying Olivia showed up at his apartment at 3 a.m. crying and asking for my new phone number. He did not give it to her, but he said she seemed really unstable. Emma knows the basics about my relationship with Olivia, but not the full extent of how bad it was. She asked me last night if I thought Olivia might try to contact us, and honestly, I do not know. Part of me feels bad because Olivia clearly has been living in some kind of fantasy for 6 years. But another part of me is angry that she never once tried to actually reach out and apologize or acknowledge what she did. Was I wrong to just give them the money and act like everything was fine? Should I have told her before the reunion that I was married? I genuinely thought she knew and had moved on. Edit. Some people are asking why I did not try to contact her during the 6 years to officially end things. I did send her an email the day I left for Paris explaining that what happened at the wedding was the final straw and I needed to move on with my life. I also moved all my stuff out of our shared apartment before I left. I assumed she would understand that was the end. Maybe that was cowardly, but at the time I could not handle another conversation where she would promise to change and then prioritize Ethan again. Edit 2. Emma just told me we should probably stay at a different hotel. Apparently one of my old classmates posted the name of where we are staying on the reunion group chat. I did not even know there was a group chat. We are packing up now and moving to a different place across town. Update 1: Olivia found us at the hotel and tried to convince Emma that I was just using her as a rebound. It did not go well. Thank you everyone for the comments on my last post. A lot of you warned me that Olivia might escalate, and unfortunately you were right. After we checked into the new hotel yesterday afternoon, I thought we were safe. Emma took Lily to the hotel pool while I stayed in the room to do some work emails. Around 6 p.m. I got a text from Mike saying Olivia had been calling him repeatedly asking which hotel we moved to. He told her he had no idea which was true. I thought that would be the end of it. We ordered room service for dinner and were getting Lily ready for bed when there was a knock on the door around 8 p.m. I looked through the peephole and my stomach dropped. It was Olivia. I have no idea how she found us. The hotel was not even in the same neighborhood. Emma saw my face and immediately knew something was wrong. She took Lily into the bedroom and closed the door. I opened the door but did not let Olivia in. I said, Olivia, you cannot be here. How did you even find this place? She pushed past me into the room. Her eyes were red and her makeup was smeared. She was still wearing the same dress from the reunion. She said, I called every hotel in Boston until I found one with a reservation under your name. We need to talk, Jack. You owe me that much. I said, I do not owe you anything. You need to leave. She started crying and saying, how could you replace me so easily? How could you just move on and start a family like I meant nothing? I gave you the best years of my life. I was trying to stay calm, but I could feel myself getting angry. I said, you gave me the best years of your life. Olivia, you left me on our wedding day. You forgot about our wedding because you were taking care of Ethan. I cannot remember how many times you chose him over me. I cannot do this anymore, she said. I know I messed up that day. But it was a panic attack, Jack. He needed me. You have always been so selfish about Ethan. He is just my friend. That is when Emma came out of the bedroom. She had changed out of her swimsuit and had this very calm expression on her face. She said, I think you need to leave now. Olivia looked at Emma and something shifted in her face. She laughed this really cold laugh and said, so you are the replacement. You do not look like much. How long have you even known Jack? 2 years. 3. Jack and I have 18 years of history. High school sweethearts. You cannot compete with that. Emma did not rise to the bait. She just said, Jack and I have been together for 3 years. We are married. We have a child. You are his ex-girlfriend. That is the only relevant fact here. Olivia's face turned red. She looked at me and said, Jack, tell her that you only married her because you were hurt and angry at me. Tell her that I am the only one you really love. I walked to the door and opened it. I said, Olivia, I loved you for a very long time. But that ended 6 years ago when you showed me over and over again that I would never be your priority. Emma is my wife. Lily is my daughter. They are my family. You need to accept that and move on. Olivia looked between me and Emma like she could not believe what was happening. Then she turned to Emma and said, He is lying to you. He is lying to himself. Jack obsessed over me for years. He used to cry when I spent time with Ethan. He would beg me not to leave him. That kind of love does not just disappear. Emma smiled this small, sad smile and said, Maybe it does not disappear, but it changes. It turns into something else. And from what I can see, Jack has changed into someone who knows his worth. Maybe you should think about doing the same. Olivia lost it. She screamed, You bitch, and lunged at Emma. I stepped between them and Olivia ended up hitting me instead. Not hard, but enough that I stumbled back. That seemed to shock her out of whatever state she was in. She looked at her hand like she could not believe what she had just done. She started apologizing and reaching for me, but I backed away. I said, Olivia, you need professional help. I am not saying that to be cruel. I am saying it because 6 years is a long time to be holding on to something that was never going to work. Please leave now. If you contact me or my family again, I will get a restraining order. She stood there for a long moment, and then just left. She did not say anything else. She just walked out. I could hear her crying in the hallway. Emma and I stood there in silence for a few seconds. Then Lily called from the bedroom asking if everything was okay. Emma went to check on her and I locked the door and put the chain on. I called Mike and told him what happened. He said he would reach out to some of our mutual friends to see if someone could check on Olivia because he was worried she might hurt herself. I appreciated that because even though I am done with her, I do not want anything bad to happen to her. Emma and I talked for a long time after Lily fell asleep. She asked me if I ever thought about what my life would have been like if Olivia had not messed up the wedding. I told her honestly no, because the person I was 6 years ago was not healthy. I was so desperate for Olivia's approval that I had no self-respect. Meeting Emma and building a life with her taught me what a real partnership looks like. This morning, we decided to cut our trip short and fly back home to Seattle tomorrow instead of staying the rest of the week. Emma does not feel safe here, and neither do I. It is disappointing because Lily was excited to see more of Boston, but we can come back another time. Mike texted an hour ago saying he went to check on Olivia, and she was at Ethan's apartment. Ethan apparently broke up with her last night after hearing about her showing up at our hotel. Mike said she kept saying she needed to fix things with me, and that Ethan was tired of being her backup plan. The irony is not lost on me. I do not know what is going to happen next, but I feel like I finally got the closure I needed. Not because Olivia apologized or acknowledged what she did, but because I realized I do not need that anymore. I built a life I am proud of with people who choose me every single day. That is enough. Edit. A few people are asking about the wedding cancellation. And if I got my money back, I lost about $30,000 total between the venue, the catering, the photographer, and everything else. Most vendors do not refund if you cancel day of. It financially devastated me at the time, which was another reason I needed to leave and start over. Olivia never offered to help pay for any of it, even though it was her fault. Edit 2. Someone asked if Ethan knew about the wedding situation. He knew. He was supposed to be at the wedding. He called Olivia that morning claiming he was having a panic attack and could not get his medication. Looking back, I think he did it on purpose, but I will never know for sure. Update 2. Olivia has been trying to contact me through everyone we know. Yesterday, she showed up at my office. We got back to Seattle 3 days ago, and I thought that would be the end of it. But Olivia has apparently been on a mission to track me down. She has contacted my parents, my brother, 2 of my cousins, and several friends from college, asking for my phone number and address. Everyone has refused to give her any information, but she is persistent. Yesterday, I was at work, and my assistant came to my office looking uncomfortable. She said there was a woman in the lobby claiming to be an old friend and refusing to leave until she spoke to me. I knew immediately it was Olivia. I went down to the lobby and she was sitting there in jeans and a sweatshirt looking exhausted. When she saw me, she stood up and tried to hug me. I stepped back and said, "What are you doing here, Olivia?" she said. I flew out this morning. I needed to see you. We need to talk about this properly without your wife interfering. I looked at my assistant and asked her to call security. Olivia's eyes went wide and she said, "No, wait, please. Just give me 5 minutes. That is all I am asking." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We went outside to the plaza in front of my building. It was cold and starting to rain. Olivia did not have a jacket. She started talking immediately. She said, "I have been thinking about everything you said, about how I chose Ethan over you, and you were right. I did, but it was because I knew you would always be there. You were my safe choice. Ethan was the exciting one who needed me. I thought I could have both." I said, "That is not how relationships work. Olivia, you cannot keep someone on the hook while you figure out what you want." She said, "I know that now. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. You can get divorced. People get divorced all the time. We can start over." I could not believe what I was hearing. I said, "I am not getting divorced. I love my wife. I love my daughter. I have built a life here that makes me happy. You need to accept that and move on." She grabbed my hands and I could feel her shaking. She said, "But you loved me first. That has to count for something. 18 years, Jack. We have 18 years together. You cannot throw that away for someone you barely know." I pulled my hands away. I said, "I have known Emma for 3 years. In those 3 years, she has shown me more love and respect than you did in all our time together. She does not make me beg for her attention. She does not cancel our plans for someone else. She does not abandon me when I need her most. That is what love is supposed to look like." Olivia was crying now. She said, "I can be like that. I can change. Give me another chance, please." Security came out then. 2 guards who looked uncomfortable with the whole situation. I told them it was okay she was leaving. I looked at Olivia and said, "You need to go home. You need to talk to someone about why you have been holding on to this for so long. I wish you the best, but I cannot be part of your life anymore." She said, "If you make me leave now, I will never bother you again, but you will regret this. You will realize what you lost, and by then it will be too late." I said, "I already know what I lost and what I gained. I am at peace with my choices. I hope someday you will be too." She stood there for a long moment looking at me like she was waiting for me to change my mind. When I did not, she turned and walked away. I watched her get into an Uber and leave. When I got back to my office, I called Emma and told her everything. She was quiet for a while and then said, "Do you think she will actually stop?" I said, "Honestly, I do not know. But I meant what I said about the restraining order. If she contacts us again, I am going to file for one," Emma said. "Okay." Then she said, "I am proud of you for handling it the way you did. I know that could not have been easy." That night I got home and Lily ran up to me asking if we could go to the park. Emma had made dinner and we ate together as a family. After Lily went to bed, Emma and I sat on the couch and she said, "You seem lighter. Like you finally let go of something heavy." She was right. For 6 years I had been carrying around this anger and heard about how things ended with Olivia. Not because I wanted her back, but because I never got to say everything I needed to say. Now I have, and I can finally move forward. This morning Mike texted saying, "Olivia is back in Boston." She apparently told some mutual friends that I am making a huge mistake and that my wife has brainwashed me. A few people have reached out asking if I am okay. I have been telling everyone the same thing. I am happy. I am where I am supposed to be. I do not think Olivia will contact me again after yesterday. She seemed defeated in a way I have never seen her before. Part of me feels bad for her because she clearly has been stuck in the past while the rest of us moved on. But that is not my responsibility to fix. Emma and I have talked about maybe getting some therapy just to process everything that happened. Not because our relationship needs help, but because this whole situation brought up a lot of old feelings I thought I had dealt with. Emma thinks it would be good for both of us to talk to someone, and I agree. For now, I am just grateful for the life I have. A wife who loves me unconditionally, a daughter who thinks I hung the moon, a job I enjoy, a home that feels safe. That is more than I ever had with Olivia. That is everything. Edit. Some people are asking if I ever saw warning signs with Olivia before the wedding day. Honestly, yes. There were dozens of times she chose Ethan over me. I just kept making excuses for her because I loved her. The wedding was just the final straw that I could not ignore anymore. Looking back, I should have ended things much sooner. Final update: 6 months have passed, and I want to give closure to anyone who followed my story. Olivia is getting help, and I am finally at peace. It has been half a year since everything happened at the reunion. I did not expect to post again, but several people reached out asking for an update. So, here it is. After Olivia showed up at my office, I did end up filing for a restraining order. She violated it once by sending a letter to my house that my lawyer said technically did not break the order since it was through the mail. The letter was long and rambling. She apologized for everything, but also blamed Emma for stealing me away, and Ethan for manipulating her into prioritizing him. It was clear she was not taking responsibility for her own actions. My lawyer sent her a cease and desist, and after that the contact stopped. Mike told me about 2 months after the reunion that Olivia had checked herself into a treatment program for anxiety and depression. He said she was finally facing the fact that her relationship patterns were unhealthy. I was glad to hear she was getting help, even though it did not change anything for me. Last month, Mike told me Olivia reached out to him to pass along a message. She wanted me to know she was doing better and understood now why our relationship was toxic for both of us. She said she spent years using me as emotional security while pursuing the excitement she got from Ethan. She realized she never actually loved either of us in a healthy way. She was just afraid of being alone. Mike asked if I wanted him to pass any message back. I thought about it and said to tell her I am glad she is doing better and I hope she finds peace. That was the last I heard about her. Emma and I did end up going to a few therapy sessions together. It was helpful to talk through my old relationship patterns and make sure I was not bringing any of that baggage into our marriage. Our therapist said the fact that I was able to set firm boundaries with Olivia showed growth, that I was not the same person who used to beg for scraps of attention. Lily turned 5 last month, and we had a big party at our house. Looking around at our friends and family, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude. My life now is nothing like the life I had with Olivia. It is stable and peaceful and full of people who show up for each other. Emma asked me a few weeks ago if I ever wonder what would have happened if Olivia had not ruined the wedding. If maybe we would have gotten married and made it work. I told her the truth. I do not wonder about that anymore because I know it would not have worked. Olivia and I were never going to be healthy together. She needed to be needed, and I needed to be chosen. Those two things could not coexist. The person I am now would never accept the treatment I accepted back then. I know my worth now. I know what real love looks like. It looks like Emma getting up in the middle of the night with Lily when I have an early meeting. It looks like making dinner together and laughing about our day. It looks like choosing each other even when it is not convenient. I wrote this update not because I think my story is special, but because I wish someone had told me 6 years ago that leaving was the right choice. I wish someone had told me that you can love someone deeply and still know they are wrong for you. I wish someone had told me that starting over is not giving up. It is giving yourself a chance. Olivia taught me what I do not want in a relationship. Emma taught me what I do want. Both lessons were necessary to become the person I am today. I do not regret the years I spent with Olivia because they led me here, but I also do not miss them. I am exactly where I am supposed to be, with people who choose me first, every single day. This will be my final update. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read and comment. Your support meant more than you know.